Welcome to Darshini In Spirit's 2014 predictions for the world. Thank you for joining me, and hopefully you'll be able to either see this in sections or the whole way through, which is quite lengthy. But anyway, it's split into different sections. You'll see an itemized in the description in YouTube. The other thing is, if you find that you need more time to spend on reading what is given in the slideshow, please don't hesitate to put this video on pause, as I'm sure some of you want to examine some of the information. Most of this, the first part of the slides are verifications, which I've done research, and testimonials of actually comments from YouTube people, and also privately on my emails that I've received, which have independently verified that these events have happened and occurred. Hopefully you enjoy it, and let me know constructive comments. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Darshini In Spirit's 2014 predictions. And we have a long one here, and I apologize if anything for that length, but if you're interested you'll stay with it, as it's going to be quite a review as well as the predictions in the latter half. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about actually. We've had quite a year, or quite a few years actually, and anybody who's been following my YouTubes, which I know quite a few, nearly 1,000 have, and my other clients have listened to also about phase 5, which I would like to talk to you about a bit at the end of this video. So what I'd like to do is really, obviously you saw a bit of the introduction of where it's going to be going, this particular video. And we are going to start actually, and I'm going to just look at my presentation to make sure I'm on track here. But basically, it's obviously, this is the introduction, and what we're going to do is, after this one, I'll be doing a separate one for actually a general video. And the general video is for really the world, and there are certain things that are going to affect quite a few countries. I'm not going to get into it obviously in this one, but I would like to share with you certain signs again of the shift, and that is all included in the book of the Epoch Succession. And if you want a synopsis of it, a very brief one, it'll be at the end of this whole presentation. And anyway, it's being sorted out in earthquakes and tsunamis, extreme weather basically. So those are part of the book. The Epoch Succession are the predictions, but we'll get into that in a minute. So the first thing we're going to look at are the 2014 predictions for really the world, and it could be affecting the continents as opposed to individuals as well. What I would like to actually take a break here quickly, and there may be a few people who don't know of me, and really don't know how I read, and I would like to clarify that. This is very important before we go further. I am a claircognitive. Now, other than being claircognitive, I do readings all over the world, obviously, and but I do it differently. Now, a claircognitive, if I may explain, I feel a psychic is quite frankly a catch-all name, and I like to be specific, as anybody attending my classes or having a reading knows. I'm very specific, other than being brutally honest, by the way. So anyway, a claircognitive, a clairvoyant receives messages through pictures. A clairsentient actually receives messages through feeling. I feel that you're sad, I feel that something happened 23 years ago, etc., etc. So that's a clairsentient. Clear audio hears it, messages. A medium actually communicates with people who are on the other side. Not everybody can do that, by the way, but there are some gifted mediums out there. Then, as I said, a psychic is a catch-all for everything. So basically, a claircognitive is everything of what I just mentioned, but what I also get is in certain readings or certain things that I'm doing, I actually receive information through taste and smell. And it's a bit different, but that's the only time I hesitate because I have to convert it into words. All right? So that's what a claircognitive is. I am a reader, and obviously I've put in at the right at the end, or you can go to my website for testimonials upon readings. And they are brutally honest. I am something, being raised in London, I guess it makes you, at least when I was raised, my mother too, incredible lady, we were kind of coached to be not brutally honest, but just very, very honest. So my readings are that way. I'm not mean, I go straight to the point. I'm more or less a bottom line person, to be honest. Even though we're looking at woo-woo here and talking about it, but that's what a claircognitive is. I also teach, and I have currently 86 classes, and I'm hoping, and let's see how this year goes, I'm hoping, other than to get the Epoch Succession, the main book, the anchoring book, out, there will be subsequent books which will go into the physics or what's on the other side, what's actually in the far future. There's all kinds of little sidelines to everything, which people, have approached me and said, what about this, what about that? So I will be splitting that in a book, because quite frankly, the book is, what I've written so far stacks up that much. And I keep on promising it'll be ready, but I do honestly believe in timing. So I'm really, really hoping it'll be ready at the end of March, but we'll see. I am self-publishing, so you'll see it, and hopefully on Kindle. But if you're interested, either join my channel and you'll know, and I'll make an announcement via that, or it'll be released in a press release to anybody who's on my email list, my private one. So you're welcome to send an email to me. I'm sure I'll put a little email address at the bottom of this video. So back to where we are. So that's a claircognitive. I'm also a futurist, and I actually made that name up. I don't know if somebody else has also got it, but quite frankly, a long time ago. A futurist is somebody who really is able to see, and I will say cognitively, into the future. And you will see what I've done here with this presentation, why I feel confident that not everything, but most of it that I've got right. I'm afraid. There are obviously quite a bit of information in this video that looks quite, how can I say this, concerning and alarming. I am not exactly, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer here, but people are saying, oh well, why can't you give us some good news? There is great news for 2014, but we'll talk about that in the individual countries or in a separate portion. But there, it is turning. We have had confirmation, actually even today, that being the 3rd of January, I'm recording this, that we are, and I said in my previous video in 2013 that the economy is improving as a whole, and I'm talking about America and certain economies, not individual ones, which I'll go over later in separate sections in this video. So basically we have turned, and it has been noted by somebody, I won't tell you whom, that they have he's a significant figure anyway in the stock market, and he is quoted to be saying that it has been, we're at a level where it was pre-recession. So we are obviously on an increase. Jobs will be opening up in America. I don't want to really get into that until we get into the video for America on predictions. So with all of that, I'm going to really move on here a bit and just go into a bit of information that where I'll be actually showing you following this video. Okay, so after this video, you're going to see a review, and these are reviews, literally, it'll be a PowerPoint presentation, and what I've done is split it into slides. Now the slides are broken down from initially, it could be predictions that I did in 2009, I've been doing it, but only a small amount then. And then 2010 it increased, 2011, 12 was a big one, 13 was a big one. So I put a lot of information. Now what I've done with this review, and it's actually 50 slides, so 50 plus something, but please be patient. I've given you enough time, 10 to 15, or maybe if it was important 20 seconds to really review it before I move it to the next slide. And it's up to you. If you're really interested, halt the video on YouTube and put it on pause so you can read what I put on the slide. I'll do my best to zoom in as much as I can so that you'll be able to read what I put on. But basically it's literally a review of all the, not all, but a good, sometimes it's only 30%, up to about 90% of my predictions which have come true. And details I've had, this is why actually it's taken a good 2 weeks to put this together, is this whole presentation, because I thought it was going to be slam bam and, you know, not exactly thank you ma'am, but it's done and finished. But I found out that I hadn't realized how many predictions had come true. Obviously I have included in that YouTube comments from viewers who have said, you know, this came true, that came true. So to kind of give you an independent view and verification really that other people have seen that it has come true. And it's up to you. I'm not here to be judged. If you feel you need to judge, go ahead, but quite frankly, that's your opinion. We all have our own opinions. Regarding even comments on this YouTube, by the way, I will tell you I will be deleting any inane, stupid comments. I haven't got time for it. I don't have the patience, to be honest. If they're constructive criticism, yes, I'll put it in. But if it's really stupid comments, don't even bother. Move to another video, okay? So, back into this. We're going through the slide presentation, and what I've done is split, more or less split it into different categories. The first one's going to be America. I apologize to the rest of the world, but quite frankly, I'm in America, and a lot of my followers are in America too. So what I've done is broken it down from 2009, 10, each one's in individual slides, 10, 11, and 12, and 13. And notations as to really where, you know, which ones have come true. The emphasis here are on the tornadoes, because it's a large part of America, I'm afraid. Just as fires and floods in Australia, it's a huge concern here, and earthquakes happen to be. But, you know, there are certain hot points in each country, and that's what I'm going to focus on, the concerns. Not everything will be given in this video, because obviously it's going to be about 3 hours long then. And quite frankly, I am doing the book, which I will be expanding on everything. But please, please, please remember, the book is not, and again, it's only there for the people who it's called to. So it's quite a serious, it's not a book, it's a handbook, to be honest. and it's very actually packed with things that will be help you gain strength in your own abilities, and also be more confident of who you are, and with explanations that you may not have realized or seen. In other words, it's certain portion of it is really extracts from quite a few of the 86 classes, addressing a lot of things that people in their daily lives. I've done, you know, thousands and thousands, I don't know how many thousands readings I've done that I've seen people need information about. Again, I can't put everything in. It may follow in a subsequent book, but I've done key facts, okay? So the first one is going to be America, and it's going down, and that's quite a bit of chunk of information, to be honest. Sometimes I've only put highlights, which is important because I haven't had time to put everything. There are YouTube comments. Also, you know, there are 2 slides there which I don't mean to get people upset, but on if you'd like to see it, it's actually on 12/12/12. I uploaded a video, and I was eyeing, because I didn't want to say it, but that I saw a huge increase of shootings and killings, and I've put down what I've researched, and that's what all the delay was, the research to verify all the facts that I actually got right. And the tornadoes, I've put in charts to show you what the categories of miles per hour for a cat, cat 1 through 2, 3, 4, cat 5. Okay, so it goes on from that. Earthquakes again, and also other extreme weather conditions, which unfortunately I got right. Other miscellaneous stuff, and it's up to you, but I'm only going to stay about 10 to 12 seconds, maybe 20 on certain ones that are important. Then after America, I'm going to do a snapshot again of the world. And the world again is broken down in, I believe, and I'm just scrolling through, the first one is 2009/2010 I put together, and it was regarding the Korean War, the North and South Korea War. Okay, then what do we got? We're going to 2012, and that's a few slides, and 2013, so there's that, and that's kind of in with the solar flares, things that are affecting the whole world in one level or two. It could be 1 or 2 countries, okay? Then I go into Canada. Canada, I've got a huge contingent of people who are following. I've got quite a few things that were, it seems correct, rather weird ones, which I couldn't even believe. Yes, that's right, even I can't believe some of mine. It's kind of bizarre. And then we go to Europe. And Europe has been kind of grouped into one. It's obviously a lot of countries, but I have gone into certain countries, which I will be going to individual countries in the predictions video, and do as much as I can. Then after Europe, it's Asia and South America grouped together. These are, remember, all predictions that have come right, correctly and verified. Asia Pacific, a few slides there, Australia, New Zealand, PNG, Papua New Guinea, and other surrounding areas. All right, Russia, China, South America, and Greenland, and that really is like Japan, and everything is in Asia, to be honest. And the last one will be Africa. What I've done at the end, as quite a few people have actually privately emailed me more than put any comments on YouTube videos. I've talked about phase 1, 2, 3, but it's really 3, 4, and 5 that have really, we're in phase 5, we've been phase 5 for a long time. There have been a lot of signs. I might put in a synopsis of all the, how can I say this, the signs, the symptoms of it. It seems it's resounded in all the lectures that I've done, and there's quite a few hundred people that have seen that on a private level when I do lectures here in California, and I upload it on YouTube, that have resounded with that. Some people think they're going crazy, but quite frankly, it's part of that phase 5. We will be moving into phase 6, and I will do a subsequent video on that. I don't want to include it in this, but I did put some signs and as I said, a synopsis of what phase 5 was, which is most of last year. At the end, I've put again synopsis of the Epoch Succession, the book, and if anybody's interested in it, it will be going, and it's really why I did the book. I really got annoyed with people saying, well, you know, they do these books to self-help, and then they leave you hanging. They really don't give you a follow-up of, okay, what do I do? So the Epoch Succession, in a nutshell, is a handbook that I'm making you work. I'll give you information, but I'm also pushing you to note down. There are blank pages in there where I want you to use it. Have I experienced this? What did I experience it? So I'm really trying to help you grow in your own abilities, which is one part of the shift, okay? And then a bit quickly a review of some of the classes with one or two testimonials, and then readings of how I do readings, which quite frankly, I know you've been very patient with me listening to all of this. When I do readings, and this is why I did all this slideshow, whoever comes to me and who's new to me, I mean, I've never done a reading before, without exception, whether you like it or not, I go backwards. Now, why do you think I go backwards? And this is important to me, and a lot of people are very initially, you know, why do you want to go backwards? I don't want to look at my life backwards. We are literally a bundle of everything we've done and experienced. I hope you agree with that. So with all of that, how can you even, not exactly deny, we are the pounding, the growing, the extra blobs, or, you know, the great things that have happened, or the, mostly, I hate to say, what shapes our lives are the challenges in our lives. And those are the events that make us grow. So what I'd like to, well, not what I like, but what I do in readings is I go backwards initially. And what it is I pick events that are really tied to where you want your reading to start, in other words, where you are now. You wouldn't have been guided to me. I don't read for everybody, by the way. I'm not being an elitist, but I know who really needs a reading and who's really not, as I say in my lectures, wasting my time. And is Jenny going to love me tomorrow? No, you know what? Go somewhere else. It's mostly people who are very, you know, I hate to say, in a very horrible spot in their life, a really challenging spot, and they just need a hand to help them along the path a bit until they get back on their feet. And the other thing I do readings for are people, I do a large amount of businesses, surprisingly, and that's when the futurist comes in, where they want to know where they, you know, what they should strategize for. But basically, again, going backwards gives you a history of your pattern. And for going backwards, you end up actually seeing that there are ties to events, and it's not necessarily all bad, sometimes positive events or okay events, but you've created co-behaviors and you have lost either the thread's continued, and maybe you don't need it. Maybe you don't need to be a controller, or you don't need to be so you know, looking over your obsessive about money, or looking over your shoulder about things. So basically that's one of the main things, and that is the gift, you know, really for going backwards. And it does help you on your journey. As I said, I've read thousands and thousands, and it has also on 3 levels of why I go backwards, other than going backwards, and that's the most important thing, is for you to, it's a lifeline in discovery to a few more clues about who you are and why you're here at this spot in front of me. But the other 2 is, one, it is very, very important for me to know, and for you to know, that one, you I have been able to correctly read you, and also for me to know that I've correctly connected. Okay. The other point is that, how can I say this? With readings, people don't realize that, one, we're not allowed to tell you what to do. And I don't care who it is out there who's doing this kind of service, but it is your life, not ours. Okay? And it is important for you to have a level of, it's not control, but comfort that this is your life, but we're just giving you little aids to help you along. All right? So basically that's all of it on a reading level. You will find that I do go forward, and the way I do readings, and this is very, very important, I don't go through guides, I don't go through another spirit or anything like that, angels or whatever. Quite frankly, I'm a totally different reader. That's why my readings are different, and the predictions seem to be coming true. And that is, I go through dimensions. I don't know how many people, and I will be, there is a chapter actually in the book on dimensions and explaining about that. But it's basically what I used to say when I first started this long time ago is I put my radar out, and then I can go backwards in the present or in the future, down to even a few days of, oh, you felt this about 3 days ago. And that's why it's far more accurate. So you need, and I apologize, I'm still saying I'm trying to get rid of that, but it's very hard because I'm trying to connect on the other side and also teach and share things with you. So basically, I don't go through anybody. It's literally energy, and it is so important for you to realize that the shift that we're going through is, and again, it's not only about, how can I say this? It's a spiritual shift. That's what the 2012, predicated it on. But quite frankly, it's more bigger than that. We're also going through, other than the spiritual shift, and the book will talk about it we're going through dimensional shifts. We're absorbing certain dimensions, which I know sounds woo-woo to a lot of people, but physicists have confirmed we have far more dimensions than we actually, the general public know about. But we don't study it, but I try to. That's why I try and cross over from the woo-woo to actual science and physics, so that you could understand things too. So basically, I just go through energy, and I'm able to read you. When I'm reading a person, I actually go into them, and don't worry, it's not like Whoopi Goldberg, but basically it's, who's a great comedian, quite frankly, to me. But it's really about stepping in to your energy and reading you, and that's why I'm able to see if you're like, somebody's tried to commit suicide 2 or 3 times, and when, and that explicit information that nobody knows, because these people haven't shared it with anybody else. So it's showing you that you are not alone. And a few other things in here which I might put in are links, but really I'll try and tie them in on the YouTube with links to the candle lesson, which has changed so many people's lives, and you can actually co-create some amazing stuff. The arm exercise, it's only a minute, and it shows you how powerful your mind is, and dangerous. Also the kick in the head exercise, and those 3 are some of the exercises actually which are in the book, and excerpts of the book which I put out on YouTube. I probably bored you silly here, I hope not. And I really truly wish you a great 2014. We're going to have an explosion of a lot of good things. I'm not talking bombs, but explosions of great things coming in. But you have to believe in it. Your mind is a powerful tool, so use it wisely and be kind to others. There's shootings, I hate to say will be increasing. not increasing it's increasing in a different way. But again, this is all part of the shift, and it's part of a pendulum effect, which is in the book. So the book will be out soon. I hope you enjoy the review that's coming up. Be patient. It's a long video. You can skip if you want and go to the predictions, but really that's another reason why I went backwards. I reviewed everything what is correct, just like my readings. And this is the important fact, closing fact here. How can you know if somebody's telling you the truth if you don't know, and have they proven themselves? Have they verified certain things that they've done in the past? And that is my verification, is the review of that. It's not about shouting out from the rooftops, hey, I got this right. It's about finding a good level of confidence for you. And that is why those reviews are important. Okay? So I leave it with you. Thank you for joining me, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of the video. You're welcome to put comments. YouTube has changed it, and Lord knows where the comments are going now. It's not going to Google+. So please, if you find that I'm not answering you, email me at Darshini_inspirit@yahoo.com, and I will try and post them. But hopefully they'll start working, because they don't seem to be doing it at the moment. Anyway, wish you well, your family. You're obviously seeing this for a reason. I strongly believe that. And life is in your hands. Enjoy it and take care. Best of luck. Bye-bye. Back again. And by the way, the background is just waves crashing. I didn't like silence, but anyway, if you wanted more time on these, as I said, on certain slides, you might like to go ahead and put the video on pause. Please also notice that in this section here, it shows the estimated wind speed of an EF5 was more than 322 miles an hour, and well, sorry, I apologize, 200, more than 200 miles an hour. So there you can see it was 295 estimated, so I still saw an EF5 on there. As you can see, quite a few records fell as for the lateness of snow falling. Even in states like Arkansas had never even recorded snow at that late. So just be warned. There'll be a few more going this year too. This was in a video a long time ago. I mean, obviously the 2013 videos, predictions, but I did say a drop H, which was lower, and then around the East Coast. West Coast, of course, has been increasing, but hardly anybody knows about the East because it really doesn't get reported that much. So I thought you'd like to see this, and this was not complimentary, but quite frankly created by University of Memphis, which I deeply appreciate. They were so detailed. Thank you for that. In the 2014 predictions, you'll see that I will be addressing the high heat levels, which will going to break again, a few more. These are comments throughout this presentation, independent, as I had said, of my verifications. They've also contributed, so I'll give you a few seconds to read, but you might like to read them. They're quite informative. And these are the funnel clouds. For some reason I've got a block with that one. Anyway, funnel clouds on, which is kind of water spouts, but mini tornadoes on ground as opposed to water spouts on in the water. As predicted again, 12-12-12 video. I've also included previous years. Please be aware, always look at the top left-hand corner. This was the 2012 prediction. High extreme heat shattering all records. A lot of records. when you see this, it's obviously, it's from Wikipedia, sorry, and it gives you the totals of the EF, just EF zeros, just a normal storm, to EF fives, okay, for the year. This I'm not going to concentrate too much. You can go back and look at it later and put it on pause, but 2 hurricanes that I predicted, one was a tropical storm. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but anyway. I put what I saw as opposed to the actual path, which you can see below, the actual path of it hitting, and that one really did more or less go near spot on. And these are all the, as I said, there were going to be a lot of tropical storms and really hurricanes coming in that year, 2011 it came in. This was, funnily enough, the shuttle prediction was confirmed right there, right in front of me. A NASA employee was there and confirmed what I was saying. It's on the video if you want to go and check it out. This is on suicides, which I have been talking about for the last 3-4 years, increase of suicide rate, I'm afraid. I don't mean to be macabre, but quite frankly, it's a very huge, it's a large concern with depression and not necessarily clinical. I'll explain a lot in the book. It's to do with energy as well. I had last year given a prediction that it was going to be far more 6s and 7s and maybe an 8 too in my predictions, that larger earthquakes would be recurring, and indeed they did. Solar flares, I did a prediction on 2 since we were at solar max last year, which will be continuing. I see still solar activity until about April this year. I didn't only give extreme weather predictions, I did see things like new strikes for oil and coal or deposits, stuff like that, so this was also included. This was a confirmation of the previous comment and obviously the prediction where I saw an earthquake, but then there was flooding afterwards. As you can see, it was quite a few earthquakes subsequent to that main one. And there it is where I saw it happening, and obviously that continuation. I've got quite a few Canadians following there. And the flooding happened a month after. thank you for joining me, and this is Darshini In Spirit again, and we're going into America, and we're going to look at all the predictions for 2014. And we're going to slightly review 2013 only because it is obviously tied. There are certain similarities to it, unfortunately. And thank you again, just very briefly, for listening and looking at the preview. As I said before, it's very important for me to realize, not really, but to for a reader or a listener to any of these YouTubes to realize that certain things did come true. And it's nothing about blowing my own horn, but I believe you should verify facts. And that's why it's taken about 3 to 5 weeks, actually, to get all this information together, because I have never really checked fully on certain predictions, and not all the predictions I made are up here because I only did the highlights, as I said. All right, so into America. I know you're impatient. So 2013, what I did see was 2 EF5s and with far more EF4s and F3s, and again you could check the old videos for that, YouTube's. But as you can see, and this was important, here you see El Reno was actually initially rated at EF5 and based solely on the mobile Doppler radar measurements. But the winds did exceed or get up to 295 miles per hour. Now, in the next map that I gave you, slide actually, it shows you what the estimated wind speeds of an EF5, and it just shows that it was an looked like an EF5, but because of their methodology, they actually downgraded it to an EF3, but it's still disputed with meteorologists. So why I'm bringing that up is because we're going to look at America now, and I hate to say it, what I'm seeing, and you may not like me for this, but again, this is for information, not sensationalism. I'm seeing 3 EF5s this year. And you will see, and this applies to all this season and most of the world, that even though we're going to see certain little peaks and in weather, extreme weather, you really are going to get more or less a lull in the weather. You're going to see floods and a few other things, but I'm not talking about the extreme weather patterns. And yes, we've been going through a lot of the snow, which I will go into in a minute, but I thought I'd like to start off with tornadoes this year. And the tornadoes, as I said, there's going to be 3 EF5s. But they will be actually after May, around about late April, May, that I'm seeing one, and they are still coming in large clusters. There's going to be few really F3s, F4s, one nearly an F4 or probably an F4, but around this region here. And I'm going to go in a bit closer to the states here if I could. Sorry. Just bear with me unless oops, wrong way. So I could see what the states are. So basically, and again, Texas, sorry, I hope I didn't move the table. Okay, we'll get there in a minute. Just be patient. Get you upright. All right, so we have, darn it, we lost it again. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. All right, so we are going to see a few more. And as all the years, 2 to 3 years ago, I have been predicting that the tornado alley, which is more or less here, has been gradually expanding to this area towards the East Coast, and unfortunately it has been happening. We also predicted a very late tornado season, which actually it happens, I think, in late November or early December. I don't know if I put that down, the latest tornado, which is kind of very unusual. So we are seeing different weather patterns actually being created now, as you can see with the snow, which again we'll talk about later. So what I'm seeing here is that, I hate to say it, we are seeing more or less not exactly lower down, but more or less this area. And don't be surprised if you see a tornado, quite a bit like an EF4 at least, in the Colorado region. And it kind of swoops in and really goes into Kansas, and it goes this way, coming in this way. The other ones, I'm afraid, are going to hit, and they're going to be lower down in Texas as well, much lower than previous years, but they're going to actually, Louisiana doesn't, it's kind of on the tip, but we're going to see a far more. Arizona is going to get more tornadoes. Last year I predicted a Arizona tornado, which did happen. So it's going to be more in a kind of weird oblong like this. All right, so it's like this, and it's expanding with that. Then also down below, it's kind of weird. It kind of takes on a tack a bit, where it increases in this area. Then the northern tip of Florida will actually get also these weird tornadoes, which again I hate to say C2, and it's a weird conflict. Probably around about end of February you'll start seeing the slight emergence of tornadoes again, and you'll see again a lull, but it will start hitting by end of June, middle June, July is when you're going to see the real extreme weather. And it's going to be a bit of a conflict where there's lots of droughts, and I hate to say it, I'm sorry, but drought regions around about the middle, and that's all our farmland, which is going to obviously affect our crops. But there is a drought strongly in this area. Funnily enough, you're going to get the floods initially, which again I'll talk about later, but let's stick to tornadoes. So it's really going to be pretty bad. We're going to see, on a quick recap here, the tornadoes are going to be F3, F5s to F4s, which was quite a bit actually, F4s. Oops, sorry. Let's go to this slide. I've got a recap of how many. No, we'll talk about those quakes. I guess it is. Oh, sorry, here. Okay, so we are at, last year, this is the total confirmed. There were far more, like 1,100 or something, but 798 confirmed. And tornadoes 404 to 284. F1s, F2s are 79, but F3 is 19. EF4s were 8, and again 1 EF5, but quite frankly one of those EF4s was really an EF5, I believe. Those ones, I think we're going to get about 4 to 5 EF4s, so they're decreasing and kind of leveling out to, and the distribution is between F1s and F3s that you're going to see a distribution of most of the tornadoes. I don't believe it's on a slight increase of 798. I'm seeing about 820 total confirmed, but you know, this is something that not exactly we're going to live with, but there are certain changes with the land and the formation of the planet, and that's all in the book. But basically, it's also to do with the Earth's axis, which is in the book as well. So let's leave it there for the tornadoes, all right? And now I'm going to move to something else quickly, and since we're on weather, we're going to move into you know, with the map with Google, I'm going to go into, let's see, late snowstorms. Okay, here again, 2013, people thought I was nuts, and I got some kind of acid comments. But we did see snow in the Midwest on Memorial Day, May 26th, and actually right in even on June 6th and 8th through 8th in the New York upper regions. So we're going to see more or less similar weather. We are going to get snow, as you well know, I'm afraid. It's hitting the regions really here, in the band here, and upwards. And that's something that unfortunately is going to continue. I did say this how many years ago, that we will be going into more extreme weathers. I did predict this storm weather system, that the weather is going to be still extreme in England, as well as, well, not England only, but Europe. And I predicted that last year and this year too. Now, these rolling storms, snowstorms and blizzards, which we've been continuously having across the states, or mostly obviously hitting the Midwest to East Coast, it'll kind of die down by mid-January. There's a kind of a break, but it'll start again by the end of February. And this one that's coming in around about the end of February that I'm seeing, really about the 28th of February, 26th, 28th, is quite a severe one. It's bringing in ice cold weather. It is a really, really severe snowstorm, and where we're getting in areas up to about 3.5 to 4 feet, and I'm talking about up this region, in this belt here. And it's something to do with some kind of cold weather system that's also affecting Port Canada as well. So we're seeing a huge dense, how can I say this, dense system, all right, and it's going to blast, these are where the heaviest snowdrifts are going to be, and it's unprecedented. You think this is the lowest temperature records. I hate to say it's going to get even lower. So even minus degrees, far more minus on the scale. So I really would not like to be up there. But anyway, just make sure you're warm. I've got a kind of concern and always a worry about the homeless. So if there are organizations, please help them out, and they're the ones who really need it, because there's going to be a lot of deaths, and I hate to say it, people who don't have a choice, who haven't got a home, and that really is dear to my heart, that we need to do something about that. Okay, I'm sorry to get off track there. But anyway, the snowstorms, and after that system, it's kind of going into another sub-system that's like about 60% less, that goes through March. And it follows like a week or so later. But it's a huge front that's coming in from actually the other side of the ocean and moving through and coming in like this one. So it's coming in from the northern hemisphere, and it's affecting us here. So we're going down now, and that subsystem that's about 60% less, much less, but still bad, giving snowdrifts across, but not the extreme heavy snow that I'm seeing in February. And I hope I'm wrong. I always say that, and sometimes I am, but it's been pretty accurate on certain levels, on certain things, as you can see on the slides. So that will end. The last snow is going to be late again, end of May, around about May 28th, 31st, and may even have a few slight snowstorms, and it's really affecting Canada more so. And so it's a northern region of the States, and that is going to affect, let's see, it's going to affect, I'm just trying to do a band. It starts petering out the first week or so of June. And as you can see, which is really unusual to even have snow, but we're going to be seeing that a bit more. And again, I'll explain it in the book why. So that's the snow. We are going to actually even get, I don't know if that's true, if we've ever seen snow that low, but we're going to even get snow as low as this area here in Florida. It's kind of like in that big snowstorm, in that drift, in the ones coming up. We will even see lower, and I did predict this last year, and it did happen, lower levels of snow in California. Arizona, who hadn't really had too much snow, had much more snow last year, and again, it's going to be actually heavier. Oregon, it's as if there's a kind of a weird, I'm going to say this, let's go to Oregon. It's kind of a weird band that starts really heavy and then kind of peters out. And this will be around about the 12th of January. So it comes here and hits this side and then just starts waning a bit. But quite frankly, it's hitting Oregon State, or quite heavily in Nevada, Idaho, and then kind of the tip of Colorado, and it starts petering out a bit, okay, on the snow. Right, so that's the snow, and I hope I'm wrong, and let's see. And yes, there will be snow level and snow statistics falling and records falling on that one, okay? So we got that, and we're going to go down to, oops, see, floods. Let's go to floods. We'll talk about heat in a minute. Let's go on, because floods follows everything. I'm sorry, we've got some other work here. Floods. Water spouts, we're going to see far more of water spouts, by the way, okay? And the water spouts are kind of weird. It's really what I thought were the water spouts on land, which can't be. It was funnel clouds, and here it was across the world, as I had predicted, okay? Now, flooding. Hate to say, Red River really had a horrible flood, and really went into kind of like 38 feet above, or 35 or 38 feet. So we are going to see far more flash floods, and I said in Houston that I saw, but you're going to see flooding, which kind of is weird, I don't know why. But in Colorado, Lake Superior, all of that is going to actually overflow, but in this direction. So we're going to see a lot of flooding in this portion of, and the Mississippi River is going to go into flood stage as well. And this is all going, I hate to say it, you know, I'm sure you don't want to hear it, but you're going to see flash floods in, the thunderstorms seem to be ramping up, and this is not in the summer, it's not in the winter. They're going to start like late April, May, and you're going to see these weird thunderstorms that are just going to be a deluge, and really affect a lot of the areas in here in Texas, Arkansas, and here. So even though they've been going into drought, they've got these flash floods that really send everything off kilter there for them. There's going to be kind of these weird freezing rainstorms too in New Mexico, on the tip of Arizona, that I'm seeing as well. And it's as if the ice just, and I'm going back to the snow, but the ice really kind of gets built up on the mountains here in Wyoming, Colorado. So watch that one. And it's not, it's really the hardest ice possible that comes in. So I am seeing, for some reason, Lake Superior, that one kind of flooding over its banks with the heavy rains and the melts. And it's probably because Canada's snow is going to be so severe. It's coming down and draining into those lakes and the Mississippi River. So sorry to say that that's going to be in. There is going to be a freak flooding round about August, and it's in this section here in Tennessee, round about there in that area, in all over the place there. So basically it's a weird storm system, and I really feel it could be connected to one of the EF5s that are coming in, or EF4s. So it's a tornado system / thunderstorm that's coming in and dumping a ton of rain. I hate to say that's going to be additional to all of that as well. Okay. The flow, the melting will actually obviously, and I don't need any comments on it, please, obviously cause other kind of melts to certain areas of America. And don't be surprised also, there's weird flooding in Nebraska as well. Sorry, not Nebraska, I'm looking at the wrong one. Nevada. in Las Vegas, and it's kind of where lower levels are. Around about the end of February, March, there's like a thaw, and it affects and it comes down, and there are thunderstorms or something like that. Not exactly as much as Reno, because anyway, they're in mountains, but we in California are going to be experiencing heavier rain by the end of again February, and it could start round about the last week, towards the last few days of January. But I'm seeing kind of mini tornadoes there, like a few years ago there was tornadoes that went through, actually it was a tip of California to Nevada, but these weird systems that are coming in and clashing. Okay, and I'll see you on the next video. I'm going to break here for a minute, and then but this is going to be rolling and continuing on the actual video, YouTube video. Thanks for joining me. See you on the other side. Hello, and we're going to be looking at earthquakes this time in this section, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because I've spent too much of the previous videos, and I don't want you to lose track of everything else that's going to come in. So basically what happened here with the prediction on 2013, I had predicted earthquakes from this region here, west coast to east coast, on a drop H, I call it. And a drop H means that the middle bar is not in the middle, but it dropped slightly, and it would go across the country, and you'll see more earthquakes from that region onwards. And I had said all of this. So here it is, and I found a great, actually a map, which was provided by the Memphis University, which I really thank, and hopefully they're not going to get me into trouble here. But it shows of all the earthquakes in 2013, showing that all these earthquakes, and this just happened a few days ago when I was actually creating 1229, and that was a 4.1. As I said, larger earthquakes, don't start getting crazy about the Madrid fault. But basically, as you can see, hopefully, you can go back to the earlier, when I was doing all the presentation with all the video, with all the slides then, you could see it from then. There, it was a far bigger slide. But anyway, as you can see, you'll be surprised to see all these earthquakes have been happening. So in a way, it's same thing as on this side. It's kind of growing here, increasing, and again here, Mexico, of course, we'll talk about later. But as you can see, significant earthquakes, but in that middle section. All right, and I'm going to go to, let's go to USGS. They've changed their system, and no offense, but I can't get the information I used to get, and it's very restricted. It's not like Australia's one or Europe's model. So let's go to, this is United States at the moment for the last 30 days, and a bit of Canada, but Canada's separate, and they do have a lot of earthquakes. We'll go into theirs in a minute in their section. But basically we're looking at Mexico, but United States, Mexico. Now again, they don't show everything, but they have been occurring, as you see, in all of these, let's put it there, all of these occurrences have happened in New York, and you can see a proliferation here of this, that's part of that 4.1 earthquake, Oklahoma. And that's quite a few, I hate to say it. It's not exactly one or two. And the Appalachian Mountains, Dallas, and you will be seeing, whether people like it or not, and we'll kind of go back, zoom out again. And what is happening is, and don't start freaking out, please. This, as I said, that drop H is there. These Appalachian Mountains, they're going to be get a bit in this section, a bit more active. There's going to be far more around this section, Toronto, and where I saw another earthquake happening, it did, and followed with a flood, but not related to the earthquake. So you're going to see far more, and around here too. And it's going to be in dense pockets like this one. and kind of not even there, but Charlotte, in North Carolina even, there's going to be far more earthquakes. So not exactly indiscriminate, but they're going to be up that chain here, in that section here. And then weird ones around here. But this one is going to be far more active, and I have been predicting how many years, 2-3 years now, that we will be seeing far more earthquakes across America, really. And it's not only, you know, Yellowstone, they're all kind of quivering and worrying about, but I still don't see any really major activity there. Sorry, that was the ice cubes. That was an earthquake. So basically, it's to do with, how can I say this? Just indiscriminate, but it's going to be a weird large one in the middle of America. I'm not going to tell you where. Because otherwise you're all going to start going crazy. I don't want obsession. It's not sensationalism, as I said. It's just for information. And always have, especially if you're in earthquake-prone areas, which is really West Coast where I am, Seattle, and then that area, Canada, of course, but they won't be listening to this one. Basically, be careful. And if you're worrying, oh yes, San Francisco, no, I don't see anything really happening anywhere there. There are going to be a few more earthquakes than last year in San Francisco, but I really don't see, and too bad, they used to be able to give the whole for years, but they don't do it anymore on the time span. I don't know how to do that. They changed the system. So as you can see, as I said, Las Vegas is going to see far bigger ones, and it'll be more extending on the right, to be honest. And a lot more in this ridge here, off here, is significant. So this fault is kind of shaky. It's getting to be very, I don't know how you could say, what you could say, not shaky, but it's like a liquefaction. I'm trying to find the word for it, but it's just not unstable. Okay, Sacramento, there'll be one here, a large one. The large ones are, and really it's in this area of Las Vegas, as I said, San Francisco, but really again off here on the ridges here. And as you can see, that is the actual fault line going through. So it is following it, but it's in other independent areas that we're going to be experiencing it. Don't be surprised if Idaho also gets more, and it's that whole region, which we'll go over in a minute, but quickly I'm in this area, and Los Angeles, it's actually going to have more activity around here, Santa Barbara in those hills there. Let's go to 7 days. As you can see, it grew. Don't ask me why they did that anyway. So basically, as you can see, as I said, there's going to be far more earthquakes there. We're going in a bit. Anaheim, as I predicted last year, is going to get far more. Anaheim off the coast of Long Beach, here in this whole area, around the islands there, and Oceanside. So not huge ones, just little ones, but they will be getting one. And it's really affecting, as you can see, it's kind of parallel to the Salton Sea. But it's really, as I said, in this area before, I told, not exactly Cathedral City, but around about Palm Springs, not Indio, but Palm Springs, Palm Desert. That's going to really get it. I do see something, a bit more activity here, back again in Mexicali, where it was before. And really, it's mostly off the coast, and then it comes into this. So it's as if it's looking like a parallel. But it'll be later in the year, okay? Bakersfield will get more too. All right? So we won't go into Tijuana because we're not doing that. I'm going to zoom back out to US and Portland. I hate to say all of that. It will be growing. It will be increasing, as any significant ones are really going to come off this chain here. and as you can see it's active and Vancouver and coming off here. But you are going to see more minor earthquakes, more on the Seattle side than in near Portland. But Oregon, and Oregon is going to spread around about here too. Okay, so Washington State. There will be a large one. I'm seeing a 5.1 or something, which is going to occur on the upper west coast as well. I'm not going to tell you where. That's it for the earthquakes. I don't want to dwell on it too much. Back to US complete. And yes, the drop age, it'll just keep on going, and Texas will experience far more than it's ever done before. Some even in Denver and Minneapolis and things like that. All right, but it's really associated with this unstable system here. All right, so we are off with the earthquakes, and we'll go into the rest of the countries later. Okay, we're dropping there. We're going back into things that we may not like, and this, unfortunately, I've been putting it off, but I need to bring it in, and that is what I said on 12/12/12 in a video, the first, the actual opening one to the predictions, and it was very hard to say, and unfortunately it did come true, and that I did see there was going to be a far larger increase of shootings and killings this year. And I'm not talking about America only, this is in general as well. Nigeria, the mall there. So I did I thought a thorough search, I'm sure there are more than this, but where there were in America, how many shootings and incidences were shootings, and they consider shootings like 4 or more people. Killings had happened between 12/12/12. I did go that far because 2 days after I made the actual prediction, unfortunately, Newtown happened, the school there. So and I was actually on the radio talking with my radio host who was in Rhode Island at the same time that this was going on, New York. So I hadn't realized until after I got off that what I was talking about on the radio was actually happening. So basically I did it from 12/12/12 through 12/29 when this slide was created, and as of that date, nearly the end of the year, there were 366, and it could be more, incidences. And this, I hate to say, is going to, I wouldn't say increase, there's going to be a weird, as I indicated earlier in this video, there's going to be a kind of a lull, and it doesn't mean to say, oh great, there's no news, or there's no shootings, there's not going to be the intensity and the frenzy of energy that there was last year, at least for the first kind of half of this year. Now, everything is energy. Why I started writing the book was because I wanted to explain how I see, how I read. I don't go through guides or whatever angels or other people see, but I literally go through just energy, and that's why my readings are totally different, and why I'm seeing certain things and which have come true. So what I will say here is that you learn, not go into prepper mode or frenzy mode. It is to be aware of your surroundings. Once you have given a presence of awareness, people and things are less likely to be drawn to you. It may not make sense to you at the moment. Some people, I know it will, that are listening. It will actually deflect away from you. Now, the book is not on predictions solely. It's only really a quarter of it. The book is about predictions. The rest of it is really to try and help people through bad times, or coming into bad times, or going through bad times. So really, it's giving exercises, and this is one of them. One of them is to try and make sure that you, either if you're really in fear, fear will control you if you don't control it. Okay, that's one of my things in my Face Your Fears class, And a lot of that class I try to put into the book, because I know fear is a huge chapter in the book, and people do have fears that they don't even understand themselves, other than, I hate to say, media contributing to that facet. But you do need to realize that you educate yourself and the fear is lessened. So education is either take a course on defense, or, you know, and that's why I give all these videos, is because knowledge is power. All right? So please know that. So Sandy Hook, unfortunately, was one of the most terrible things, plus all the other shootings in because, again, some of it in the book I've explained why children are far more suicidal, and I predicted that 3 years ago, that there will be far more suicides, and I'll go into that in a minute. That's one of the general predictions, suicides, and that has kind of helped to contribute, because they will find ways, not necessarily a gun, but they will find ways if to take other people out other than themselves, because the anger is such on a base level of energy. Okay, I don't want to spend too much on it, so I'm safe to say it will start back up the ramp again by end of June and onwards through the rest of the year, and we'll talk about next year, or at the end of this year. Okay, so with all of that, we're going to move on to, let's see what else we have for America. And heat levels, of course. Now we've got, with the snow, we'll come into summer. Heat levels, as I predicted, 2012, that it broke records that were unprecedented. And if I go down to 12 predictions, king ties, it shattered pre-existing records. And that was the year that, it's like a bookmark. It really turned from the extremes, okay, from heat, from extreme cold to extreme heat. So we're now going into the high heat, and what I'm seeing is that we are going to experience high heat, but in the mid-level states. So it's not the extreme states outside, but mid-level. And kind of from Oregon onwards, downwards. I hate to be in Nevada, to be honest. That's going to be horrible. Arizona. They're going to actually exceed their heat levels, even from last year and the previous year. Places where it's going to actually, there's kind of these waves where they don't just come over like this. There are about 3 of them that are coming in that start really hot, wane, start again, wane, and start again. So Chicago and everything, that will get hit. So there are literally start, stop, start, stop. And there are 3 ways like that coming through the summer. And until about September, October this year, I keep saying next year, this year. So just really expect some really bad weather. Alaska is part of this, and we didn't talk about Alaska on the earthquakes, but quite frankly, let's quickly go over there. I'll feel left out, and I don't mean to, because actually that is, well, I'm not going to go up there for that. Sorry. Let me go to, stop it. Oh, sugar. I'm sorry. This is so sensitive, I didn't realize. Okay, so let's quickly go to this, and Alaska. Now, as you can see, Alaska's been usual, but it has been increasing. I don't know, I haven't got any kind of way to check it, unfortunately, because USG changed their format. The other system was great. You could do a lot with it. But anyway, I hate to say it, this is going to increase far more to the east on the earthquakes. And you're going to see, as I said, last year and this year, you're going to see bigger earthquakes, larger. And they are going to be deep, but they're going to be larger. Like the one I said, there was going to be a large one in Australia. Well, Australia had it, but Russia was an 8.3 or 2, I have to check it. But you're going to see a good 7.6 and subsequent earthquakes from here and in that region in Alaska. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's near any major city, but I'm seeing it more up here and off the coast here, attached to this, to the fault line. So again, and that sets off. And when you look at it really, when really looking at the Bering Sea, the Aleutians, this trench is going to get far, far more active. And it's really to do with the kind of offset of Japan's earthquakes and everything else. So just quickly over there you can see. So it is, I hate to say, going to just increase. There's nothing new about that. It's going to affect far more of more earthquakes, you know, into the region, I hate to say, of what do you call it, Canada. So be warned, it's all going to be destabilizing certain fault lines here. Okay, so I'm going to go backwards quickly. I know we're wasting your time. Right, and Puerto Rico, and is part of, by the way, I'm going back into earthquakes, I apologize, but Puerto Rico is part of America in that way. And I hate to say it, I will bring in Haiti here too, that Haiti is going to be a bit more active as well. You're going to see this region here, there's something like a 7-pointer plus, I hate to say it, 7.6. I hope I'm wrong, coming off there. And as you can see, Puerto Rico is really dense with quite a bit of action there. Haiti, I hate to say it, it's going to be far more on this side and here, other than all the hurricanes, which I'll do next. But Puerto Rico is going to experience an earthquake. I don't know why I'm seeing it down here, but it could be up here too on the trench, but it's really here. Okay, I'm sorry to give that. But it's pretty deep, but it does have an effect because it's already, with all the multiple earthquakes constantly, it's destabilizing other regions or earth matter. And I'm not a volcanologist, and I won't say anything to that. Okay, so let's go back to the US, and we're going to go into hurricanes, and I'm going to go to Google Earth for that one. Now, Google Earth hurricanes, I'm going to expand out here, and unfortunately most of the earthquakes did come true. I mean hurricanes come true. Oh, there you are, I was looking for you. Okay, now what I'd like to talk about here, let's expand you a bit. Hurricanes, let's go to sure I did a hurricane. Oh yeah, hurricanes. Now this, it was near accurate, and it's hard to, you know, remember you're dealing with energy. So I'll explain it in the book how I read, but how I get into the energy of it. But basically this chart I created was not so much Storm Lee, Tropical Storm Lee, but it's really Hurricane Irene that I saw. It really followed what I was trying to, what I saw, okay? And as you can see, it was quite an active season, late but active. And what I'm seeing is that you are going to see far more, how can I say, around about in July, you'll see the activity really ramp up. There's going to be a few even at the end of kind of mid-June to the end of June, and you'll see that the activity is again coming in from this section here, from Africa, and it's kind of increasing as it with this one here. Sorry, this one here, you can see it's all coming in from that draw, kind of a drift. But what I'm seeing far more though is, I'm just wondering if I should bring up the map for you, but no, I think I'll just stick to this. It's going to confuse you. Anyway, basically, and no, I don't have this scripted, by the way, and that's why I hesitate. Right, so what we're going to do is let's go up a bit here. No offense to Canada, but we're doing Canada separate. Okay, separately. So what I'm seeing is one storm comes really low level from you know, obviously here, and it's coming in from Africa, like here, this one, but a bit even lower than that. It starts, and it kind of meanders, and then it starts gaining strength. And it's a tropical storm, basically. And for some reason, it starts really ramping up. But it comes, it's weird how it comes. It comes in like this, and meanders here, and then comes like into here. Now, it could veer right into Texas, Louisiana. But what I'm seeing is it just meanders. It could be just a tropical storm. It's not really strong, that strong, but it breaks. Now, that could be an early one. What I'm seeing is like an F3 hurricane. And it starts from here, round about here, and goes through the islands, Cuba, just on the tip of Cuba, and goes through Nassau, the Bahamas. But it looks as if it's really, quite frankly, pointedly heading towards Miami, just above Miami, Fort Lauderdale. And then it literally just kind of hesitates or stalls or something. And then it starts an upward trend right into the tip of North Carolina and all the other states over there. So it travels up, and it really is a nasty storm. It brings a huge deluge of rain, and the force really, they're hoping that when it crosses the Bahamas that it'll lessen, or it comes towards that tip, that it would actually, after making landfall, lessen. But for some reason there's some kind of additional wind coming in, warm system, and it actually increases it into it's as if it's pressurized. I don't know, I'm not a weather person. So anyway, it comes in, and then it literally gets, not like this, but pushes upward and straight for this section, kind of making the tip, literally the tip of North Carolina into south. And then it's kind of weird, but it just travels up, and it may even come back out. But it really wanes after this, but it is hitting kind of the upper New York region. So let's just quickly see something. Okay. Yeah, so it comes into New York, and I'm sorry about that, but yeah, New Jersey, kind of hits here. And then kind of peters out after New York, you know, coming in upwards into Montreal. And it's really a kind of a heavy, other than a tropical storm, but a heavy rain system, but not as bad when it hits Montreal. Okay? So there's one. There's going to be about, I don't know if this is true, God, I hope not, but anyway, I'll stick my neck out, and if you don't, I'll stop it. See, it does have its own mind. Sorry. Okay. So, I'm trying to get this thing done. Okay, there. Oh, it's wonky. Lord. Anyway, leave it there. I haven't got time. Okay, so basically it'll hit there, and then it'll veer up. Then I'm seeing, sounds awful, but about 18 / tropical storms and hurricanes. It could be. But I think 5 become actual hurricanes. But they're kind of F1s to F2s. There is one that could be an F3 / F4. It's a point of F4, but for some reason it really weakens, and it's more on the Caribbean side. I mean, sorry, not Caribbean. It starts at the Caribbean and goes back up like that. There are quite a few that are going towards into the Gulf Stream, but quite frankly, I don't think they're going to be bringing a lot of heavy rain into Houston and those areas, Texas. What I am seeing, and I did predict, which sounded weird to me even when I was doing the predictions last year, is that I saw far more, how can I say this, hurricanes. I mean, a hurricane coming into off the coast of California, which is really weird. I don't know how rare it was, but it did happen, but it was more on the Baja section. It came up here, and then it petered out by the time it came into California. But I am seeing, I'm afraid, far more storm systems and hurricanes coming in from here, coming upward. And there's one as if it starts from here, and it just as if it just heads towards the coast there in California and hits far more into, let's see, I'll go into that area. Okay, so we're in California, and it's more or less coming into this edge here, coming in there. Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, really, I think. Yeah, there's Santa Barbara, so it's more or less in that area, okay? But it really it's just a heavy downpour of things, and that will be around about July, I think, could be August, but I'm seeing around about that time. But I am definitely seeing about 2 to 3 actually starting up. It's as if this region, hopefully, and I will talk about oceans briefly in the world one, hopefully I will remember that, but the oceans are changing, and that's creating these weird storms and weird king tides that are going to be happening. A lot of weird weather, and round about here in Mexico too, but you're going to see a lot of higher tides. Like last year there were some reported high tides, higher than normal, and you're going to see high tides. There was one just about a week or two ago that the official, I think NOAA, was requesting people take pictures of the high tides. So don't, you know, and I did predict that in England too, a long time ago. And you're actually seeing it now in actually flooding in England on the coastal areas, low coastal. So you're going to see that here too, I'm afraid. All right, but in certain pockets, but it's like mini tsunamis, but they're not. That's the only way I can describe it. Okay, so